So we had a fan question on our last video that we are going to answer. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Justin Andrews asked if he would love to hear our opinion on whether we think Zion Williamson will live up to the hype he came into the league with, or whether he will be a bust. So I'll let one of you guys go first and then add my input.
Um, so I'd have to ask to start off with, what is the expectation for Zion? Like, are you talking like generational talent where he's like a LeBron James, or are you talking like a Giannis type player?
Personally, I would say LeBron James because that's the hype he came into the league with.
Okay. I think he could, but he won't at this point. I think he'll be like a very good player. Like right now, I see his potential ceiling
Mm-hmm.
could be like a top 10 player in the league. But I see him more being like a top 35 player in the league with where he is now.
Do you think it's because of the injury history? Is that
I think that, but then also, I still don't believe he wants to be in New Orleans.
yeah?
So I think that's gonna like stunt his development. And it really just depends if he gets into the right situation to become a generational talent.
If he leaves New Orleans, say he does, do you think he could be a generational talent?
Depending on where he goes, yes.
All right, that's fair.
Like if you compare up with someone like James Harden with the offensive ability that can like run the pick and roll like that, then yes.
Mhm.
But if he's not with someone like that, I can't see him really booming into
That's
that type
fair.
of player.
That's fair. Gio, what do you think?
So Zion Williamson, very hard, right? He's pretty much a gamble, right? You never know what's gonna happen with Zion. For me, right? Zion Williamson is that guy. He has the talent like LeBron James. He has the size like Shaq, right? For him to fill out his potential, right? I think he needs to lose weight, one, right? I think either he needs to lose weight or learn how to play and not get hurt with the weight he has, whether it be in his training, how he trains certain movements, right? So he can be ready on the court, because all of the up and down movement, right? Him dunking, that's a lot of weight going up, and then all the force coming down. It's pressure on his knees, his ankles, all that, right? So either he has to train in order to keep the weight on so that he can perform at the highest level possible, or he needs to lose the weight. And obviously, then I think he would perform even at a higher rate, right? At a higher level. I think he's got a good shot. He just needs to use it, right? He shot exceptionally well, I think, for a big man, especially on Duke, right? It's very hard because LeBron James, in his first 6, 7 years, went to the finals, right? I believe once, made it to the Eastern Conference Finals once or twice, right? And then he went to Miami and won a couple championships there. But that was after the first 6 or 7 years. Zion Williamson is coming up to that point where he needs to make a move, just like Nick said. Either he gets out of that organization and he goes wins a couple championships, and then in that case, I believe that he will live up to the hype, right? And once he gets that first or second championship, I really think he's lived up to the hype, because I I personally never saw him as a generational type player. I always thought he was going to be an amazing player. I thought he was going to be like a Charles Barkley, because Charles Barkley, I wouldn't say was a generational type player, but he was an amazing player for his generation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it
Zion
does.
Williamson will be an amazing player for his generation, but he will not be the LeBron James, the Michael Jordan, the Shaquille O'Neals, right? The Kobe's or the Magics, right? But he will be an amazing player for his generation, like like Isaiah Thomas was, right, for his generation back in the 90s, 80s, like um like Charles Barkley was, right? Like Reggie Miller was, a bunch of others, countless others behind them. So he's gonna be one of those types of players.
I agree. I would say that I never liked the comparison to LeBron either. I never saw him living up to that. That was too much pressure on him coming into the league, in my opinion. But I will also say that he's not a bust because when he is healthy, we saw what he can do. He averaged 27 points in his rookie year and was second runner up to John Morant for rookie of the year. So when healthy, he can do pretty much anything that you ask of him. It's just a matter of him staying healthy, like Gio said. What does he have to do to stay healthy? And if that's to get out of NOLA, then he has to get out of NOLA in order to live up to his max potential, I will say.
He was also an all-star as well.
Exactly. So we know what he can do. It's just a matter of if he wants to do it.
Very true.
But do you guys see Go ahead.
What'd you say, Saya?
I said shout out Ja though. Right now he's better than Zion.
Facts. Go ahead, Gio.
Do you guys see a future for Zion Williamson, right, where he gets to keep his weight and play a different role? Because it seems right now he's not really losing the weight.
No, he needs to lose his weight because if he doesn't lose his weight, he's just going to continue to get injured. I don't see him playing a full 82 game season his entire career if he doesn't lose weight.
I don't know though. The weight kind of like helps him too though, because the way he was just able to like bully people for the ball.
Yeah, but
Stuff like that.
it does help him, but like at the same time, I feel like it hurts him more.
If he is bombarded with injuries like continuously, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
He could keep the muscle and lose weight. Like it's not that hard.
True.
I don't think it's the weight that necessarily bullies people. I think it's his muscle.
Well, yeah, but like how much he's still going to be massive for being 6'6"
Well,
with
yeah.
all that muscle, which could.
I wouldn't say he has to lose like 20 to 30. I'd say if he loses like 15, which he technically he already has lost about like 15 in the offseason. So we'll see what he brings this year. But if he loses like that much and it works, then yeah, just keep doing that.
I'm with it. But yeah.
What do you think, Gio?
I would have to agree, right? If Zion loses another couple, pounds, right, 15, 20 pounds, obviously I think that would help improve his health, right? But at the same time, he'll be able to be on the floor longer and, again, would help, especially with this conversation of him living up to the hype, because if he's on the floor, then he's able to produce and then he'll go ahead and play his game.
I agree.
Somewhere I would not want to see him go, though, is Cleveland.
You think the LeBron hype would be too much?
That, and I don't think that team can fit around Zion.
Why would you say that?
Well, they just got Spider.
Right.
And I feel like they got too many bigs on that team still, where Jared Allen's just going to clog it up for Zion, unless they will force him to shoot more. But I don't really see that happening either.
I can see that.
Would you see him possibly moving to Memphis?
That team. As long as Steven Adams is out of there.
Right. And I would think after a couple of years he would be out of there. So
if you think about Jaren, Ja, Bane,
And Zion.
right.
And Zion.
Plus Jaren Jackson Jr. Oh my gosh.
That could be a championship team, right?
I would say so.
Depends what version of Zion.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Zion's gotta know to fall in this role too. Ja,
Yeah.
that guy.
Ja would be the guy, but he would be that number 2, right? Where I think they could be What are you looking at?
I mean, Ja would be number one.
That's what I said, right?
Oh, we
Ja
thought you
would be
meant.
number one and Zion would be number two.
Oh, the way you said it sounded different.
All right.
Yeah, I thought you
Yeah.
were saying Ja would be number 2 to Zion. I was like, nah, bro.
Ja would be number one, obviously. Zion would be number two. And in that respect, we would all know, just like the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade was a better player in their first championship run, but he took a back seat. I feel like once Zion does that, they have all the room to just win championships, right? Once they know their roles, just like you said, they could win at least 1 to 2 championships, I think.
I agree.
Facts.
Hopefully that answers your question, Justin. Speaking of Spida, obviously the Cavaliers did get Donovan Mitchell. I know Gio's very excited about that as a Cavalier fan. The trade details were Donovan Mitchell was the only one who went to the Cavs, and the Cavs sent Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, the rookie they drafted at 15, Colin Sexton, and then 3 unprotected first-round picks and 2 pick swaps as well. What are you guys' thoughts on that deal?
I'll go first, just so the Cavs fan can go off. For me, I like the trade for the Utah Jazz, kind of. I see the Cavaliers winning the trade, kind of. I think getting Spider was like a great piece to add to the team. It'll give them like that go-to scorer, someone who can do really well, and they also complement Darius Garland, who's an underrated player.
Yeah,
But I also believe they gave up way too much with all the picks.
that's fair. I've been seeing that, but people are saying the Cavs got fleeced. I disagree with, but that's another topic. Go ahead, Gio. Let's see what you got to say.
If I'm a Jazz fan, I'm extremely happy until in the next couple of years, and you guys are just where you are right now, right? The Jazz organization will not win, no matter how many picks they have, right? No matter how good their GM is, and we all know who he is, right? No matter how good he is, it really doesn't matter because the Jazz organization, just like the Knicks, are cursed. What I love about this trade, the Cavaliers, my Cleveland Cavaliers, right, swung for the fences. They're being gutsy now, right? They made it an extremely great trade to get Donovan Mitchell. Will this, pull off and get them a championship? It could. I don't see it being this year. I see they need a little bit of room to grow as players, as an organization. I believe they will win a championship, though, in the next 3 years, for sure. I really believe Donovan Mitchell is coming into his prime. We have a great shooter in Darius Garland, shot blocker in Jarrett Allen, inside presence Jarrett Allen, right? Evan Mobley. That kid's potential, we don't even know where it ends, right? He could be the next Tim Duncan. We don't know. Really, that kid's got an inside shot. That kid's clutch. That kid was amazing for his rookie year to pretty much, I would say, carry that team, right? Not be the heart and soul of that team, but to be a leader on that team because before him, we were not in the right trajectory. I didn't think we were going to win a championship in my entire lifetime, to be honest. I was down that low. Now we got Donovan Mitchell. We have an amazing team. We kept our young guys, which is amazing. Although we lost Lauri Markkanen, it's all right. We got Donovan Mitchell now. And we will win a championship within the next 3 years. Darius Garland will be another all-star. We will have 3 all-stars on that team. And Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland, and Donovan Mitchell.
4, Evan Mobley.
You think Evan Mobley's going to be an all-star?
Yes.
Right. But we'll say 4. And then we also got old man Kevin Love. That man's been on the trading block for the last 6 years. Still in Cleveland. I love to see it. That man's won a championship with us. Hopefully he can win another championship with us and be that heart and soul, just like I would say Udonis Haslam, right? Even though he can still produce on the court, he can be that heart and soul on the bench as well. And hopefully we win another championship.
Yeah. I'll give it in the range for the Cavs championship window, 5 to 7 years. I think 3 is too fast. That's just me though. But I do like the trade for the Cavaliers. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland is going to be one of the most scariest backcourts in the league. One of the most dangerous scoring backcourts in the league and passing backcourts as well. And then you got the two twin towers in the paint. So it's definitely very bright future for the Cavaliers. But I also like it for the Jazz because they did get a point guard back in Colin Sexton. He signed a 4-year, $71.5 million extension. So I think it's a fresh start for him, which was needed for him, especially. And then they also get Ochai Agbaji, who is very, very talented and has very high potential. And then Lauri Markkanen, obviously he needed a new fit for himself with Jazz, and the Cavs wasn't working out. So I think it's a win-win trade for both teams. But personally, I give the edge to the Cavs just because they got Donovan Mitchell.
The good thing about Colin Sexton too, he's put on a team where he can just score the ball.
Right. He can just be himself.
Yeah, like so it's a good situation for him as well. I don't even think about like.
Yeah, because like in the Cavs, he could be himself, but like he also had to give it to Garland here and there too. Like it wasn't working out very well. So I think Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland will be a much better fit together.
And one thing I was thinking about too is Donovan Mitchell kind of could play the same way he did in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jared Allen is not the same defensive player as Rudy Gobert by any means.
Right.
But they both kind of have the same like mold where they're like rim protectors. Then they're just like a sit in the dunker spot and just dunk the ball.
Right. Like they could run pick and rolls the same way they did.
Yeah. So they'll be like familiar, I would say, for Donovan Mitchell as well.
I agree. I think personally the Knicks really missed out on this trade. I think they should have swung for it, but obviously, it's the Knicks. They don't go for big trades. They don't really care, it seems like, but that's just me.
Even then, the Knicks wouldn't have really gotten any better. Like, yeah, they would make the playoffs maybe, but like, they'll be a first round exit.
Yeah, I agree. It's the Knicks. What else do we expect?
Very true.
Anything else you guys want to add about that trade in particular? Go ahead, Gio.
Spiders for the King of Miami.
Of course. So you got to add that. All right, Gio, go ahead.
Just one thing I would like to add is we did lose Colin Sexton, a great defensive player and offensive player, great two-way player. I think we're lacking a little bit on the guard defense, right, and our wing defense. That's really, I would say, our number one weakness right now. Like you said, our front court, great. We got the Twin Towers in there. But our wing defense and our guard defense is a little lacking right now, especially since we know what Donovan Mitchell does offensively and what Garland does offensively, but we're not sure what their capabilities are defensively yet. So
that's true. Do you guys still have Karis LeVert though?
We do.
So that helps with wing defense, I would say.
It does, but I was also he's a small wing though.
That's true. So you'd like to see them add like more wing depth in the free agency as before the season?
I would, but at the same time, we got Isaac Okoro, right? Hopefully he can shine out this year. What is it? His third year in the league,
third year, yeah.
Right. So hopefully he'll shine out, see what he does this season, and go from there.
That's fair. Saya, got anything?
Yeah, I think Okoro is going to be a nice piece for what you were saying, Gio. Just because that boy's all defense and nothing else. So he'll be a nice piece to throw in if you guys are struggling defensively. But yeah, that's all I really got.
That's fair. Switching tables to another trade that happened 2 weeks ago. As a Lakers fan, I'm very happy about this. Patrick Beverley got traded to the Lakers for Taylor Horton Tucker and Stanley Johnson. That's the entire deal. And I think that it was a great trade for the Lakers, our given that our biggest weakness last year, I would say, is defense, even though the stats don't say it. The games that I watched, we played awful defensively, and that was the main reason we lost. So I think it's a big trade for us. It's a good trade. The only question I would have is how are him and Russ going to fit? But I have heard good things about that so far. Like they're already starting to build their chemistry up. So hopefully that leads into the season if Russ is indeed on the team. But what do you got to say about it, Gio?
I think this was a great trade, right? This will add to a contender, although he's not, say top 10 in the league, or he's not the best player in the league, right?
Mhm.
Patrick Beverley is that guy where you need him on your team in order to win.
Right. And he brings the energy and defense that we lacked.
Right, exactly. Here's the thing. In your championship run, you had Kyle Kuzma and you had
Al-
JaVale McGee.
Alex Caruso. I mean, we could
yeah,
name the
right.
entire roster.
I'm just saying those three guys alone were your
Yeah.
heart and soul.
I would say to Dwight Howard too.
Dwight Howard, I'm just right. That those four, right, brought the energy every single night.
Mhm.
They set the tone.
Right.
With your team without those four players, we saw what happened. They did not have a heart and soul. They looked soulless out there. They looked like they were running through the motions. They were just playing basketball. There was no real effort, I would say, although LeBron James did try to bring in some effort once in a while. It wasn't like championship effort that they needed. Patrick Beverley brings championship effort every single night. And that's what I can't wait to see. Him and Russell Westbrook, that'll be an interesting backcourt. That will be very interesting because they are very physical, right? On the offensive end and defensive end, I think they're very physical as well. So when you're playing against them, those guards will be beaten mentally and physically. And I'm curious on how those guards going against those two will prepare and be ready to play against them.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing that I love about Patrick Beverley that he's bringing to our team, it's not even the energy and defense, it's the accountability that he's gonna bring to the team. Like he's not gonna shy away from talking to Anthony Davis or LeBron James if they're playing like crap. He's actually gonna go to them and be like, "Hey, you're the heart and soul of this team. Let's go."
Like he said in his press conference, I don't want to quote him, but he did say there was a question, what do you bring to the team that the team doesn't already have? I believe he said something like they are already a championship team. I'm just gonna add what I can, right?
Right.
For him to be prepared, he said, preparedness is the key, right? He will make sure everyone's prepared on that team. He will make sure everyone's ready to win that night, right?
Yep.
Once he makes a block, once he makes an effort defensively, offensively, the entire team will know that and it'll bring the entire morale of that team up, even if they're losing. Because like I said before, when you guys were losing, especially in those third quarters, fourth quarters, you guys did not have a soul. You guys were, like I said, just running through the motions. And I think even if you guys are down, Patrick Beverley will fight through and will allow your team to fight as well. And they'll end up with some of those wins that you guys ended up losing last year.
I agree. I would say that, also the lack of soul would be like injuries, but there's still no excuses. You're in the NBA.
Right.
If you're in the NBA, you need to play up to par. And
Right.
watching it as a Lakers fan, thinking back on it, it still makes me mad just because like I knew the potential the team had, but it didn't seem like they cared, like you said.
Right. The only player I would give credit to, I would say, is Reeves. That kid
Right.
played his heart out every single game, I feel like.
100%. I would say Stanley Johnson as well,
Right.
like when we signed him mid-season.
Right. One player I would possibly say didn't play their heart out, right? I would say Talon Horton Tucker. I would say possibly Malik Monk. Those guys made some timely mistakes, I feel like, throughout the season during a lot of games that they could have learned throughout the season, but they didn't, and they kept on making those same mistakes. That's what the problem is I have with those guys, right? And some other guys on that team is because they made the same mistakes over and over where they could have learned or LeBron could have held them accountable like Patrick Beverley will now. And
Right.
they'll learn from those mistakes, and that's why they'll win a championship possibly.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, the blame goes to every player on the team. I'm not
Right.
like singling out anyone because the entire team didn't care last year. At least that's what it seemed like from a fan's perspective.
I just remember those two guys specifically making a lot of mistakes. I do like those guys as players. I believe Monk has great talent. Town Horton Tucker has great talent. It's just I feel like they made the same mistakes over and over, whereas I didn't see that from a lot of other players on that team.
That's fair. All right, Saya, let's get your thoughts on the trade.
I think it's a good trade as long as both Pat Beverly and Russ Westbrook do not both start.
So you think Reeves should start over Pat Bev?
Yes. I
You
only
don't
say
think
that because I don't like the spacing, which
Okay.
was a problem last year.
100%.
And I think having Patrick Beverly, it allows for Russ to get less playing time. But it also allows for Russ, if he's just absolute garbage again,
Right.
to sit out during clutch times because now they have Pat Beverly, who's been there, done that.
hmm
He went to the playoffs last year. They didn't.
Right.
I don't know if
Yeah,
y'all talked about that yet.
I did see that. Yeah.
Uh, but I like the trade for the Lakers. Like you guys were saying when I got back, Pat Bev will hold them accountable. That's good. But yeah, I think it's a good trade for them. I think it'll help them with depth too.
Yeah, I agree. I think personally, I think we're gonna start Russ and Pat Bev just because that's what it's looking like. But if it doesn't work, it's always good to know that you have an insurance policy by starting either Kendrick Nunn or Austin Reeves. So yeah, speaking of Kendrick Nunn, if if Russ is playing awful, he has two backups who could now take him out. So this is just if Russ wants to play good, then he's going to have to play good, or else he's going to sit the bench, which he obviously doesn't like, which we saw last year.
Go ahead, Gio. Talk your trash. I'm gonna defend my boy Kendrick.
All right, first off, I gotta say this. I feel like a lot of Lakers fans are writing Russ off after 1 year.
Well, yeah, because I'm going to speak for myself. I'm writing him off because we win. We don't play like that, bro. I don't need that type of like effort. He had a lack of effort. One, he turned the over like 10 times a game. I don't need that on my team either. And then he doesn't play defense. Like those three things, that made me mad.
So a player that has a historic career, right? All time. Russell Westbrook, we're talking about, one bad season, and you write him off.
Yes, because it's not the talent, it's the fit. That's my thing. He's
Right.
not a good fit for this team.
And here's the thing for me. I think LeBron James can literally make anything fit with him.
I think he tried that last year and it didn't work.
I think Russ was not accustomed to all the publicity, I would say, in LA, especially. It's like being a Knickerbocker, right? You are gonna get all the publicity. Right?
Yeah.
So I fully believe the Lakers, the Knicks, right? Another championship team, the Celtics, those three cities, right? If you play in those cities, you got to get ready for the publicity, especially if you play bad. So
That's fair. Say, go ahead. I've seen you waiting.
I think that's fair, the cities, but you got to throw Philly in there too.
100%. You saw what they did to Ben Simmons, yeah.
Yeah, but I was gonna say with Russ's individual accomplishments, they more so came when he was the
By
guy
himself.
and
Yes,
by himself.
exactly.
Rather, because even with KD, like yeah, he looked promising, but that's also because KD could shoot and KD could spread out the defense. Russ needs spacing, and it just so happens that LeBron's best when he's got shooters and spacing around him as well.
Exactly.
So I'm with Jake on that. It's more so fit. That's never going to allow this to happen. Like, I'm sure Russ could be very
Mhm.
good, say next to Stephen Curry and Clay.
Mhm.
But with the Lakers' skill set, because even AD needs to be an inside presence. He can stretch the floor, but I'd rather have him scoring inside. So just that whole Lakers team doesn't really help. And Pat Bev's not a great shooter either. So
No. Yeah, that was gonna be my next point, is that LeBron needs shooters. And what did we
Right.
lack last year was shooters, and Russell Westbrook's not going to help that. So that's another reason why I wouldn't mind him off the team. But if he's on the team, I'm going to support him because it's my team. Like I'll root for him. But personally, I'd rather have him off the team by the start of the year.
and say Russ does play, he doesn't perform. They lack spacing. Russ doesn't want to play defense. Russ doesn't want to pass. There's someone named Kendrick Nunn on that bench.
Exactly.
That boy can score the ball. He can pass the ball. He hustles on defense with that Heat culture. He'll put in the effort. He'll play a good defense. He can score inside. I like his floaters a lot. And he's a decent pass. Be a nice replacement.
That's why I think that we're starting to go after point guards, because like we come to the conclusion that we're going to have to keep Russ, but we don't have to keep Russ without a backup. Like we can have backups where if he's playing bad, then he get out.
Facts.
But go ahead, Gio.
I would just end on this. I fully believe, like I said before, Russell Westbrook will have a bounce back season. He will prove all you guys wrong, I feel like. And in that case, for you, that's good as a Lakers fan. But I believe all of the Lakers fans will be on Russell Westbrook's back, right? By mid-season, because he will be the second best or third best player on that team.
I'm going to say the max is third best, because if AD's healthy, he's the second best.
So I know you wanted to end it there, Gio, but what do you
Right.
say is Russ's comeback year?
Right.
Like, what kind of stats are we looking at?
Well, what is he averaging?
I feel like because he missed a lot of layups last year, he missed a lot of dunks last year.
Uh-huh.
I fully expect him to make a lot of those, right? I expect his three-point shooting to increase and get better, right?
By how much percent wise? How much?
Not like Steph Curry, right? But
Okay.
obviously, I expect it to get better because what was that? One of his worst seasons ever.
It was like, I think it was like 29%, something like that.
29, right? What's his highest? 35?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, I expect it to be around there, 35, 33%. He'll be 1 and 3 shooting behind the arc. He had a lot of turnovers. We all know that.
Yeah.
Turnover ratio will be down. Defense will be there. Why? Because of Patrick Beverly. He will help him defensively. And I believe him to have a bounce back season based on all those numbers to be better. And like I said, all of the Lakers fans will be on his back midway through the season, and everyone will be happy as a Lakers fan. So
I hope you're right, obviously, because I'm a Lakers fan, but we'll have to wait and see what happens.
I would ask Russ personally. I think of Russ bounce back season. I want him scoring 20 points a game. Even then, I'll take like 18, like he had last year, like 19.
Exactly.
As long as he makes good impact on the team, where he's putting them in positions to win, not turning the ball over as much.
Right.
And he just overall looks like a competent NBA player next to LeBron. I think that would be more of a bounce back season for him. Like, I think the season he had, if the Lakers won, on paper, it doesn't look too bad.
No.
But all the turnovers and like watching the game, you could tell he just wasn't there.
Yeah. It wasn't even like the turnovers. For me, what did it in was the missed layups and dunks. Like, bro, you get to the rim, you're 2 feet from the basket. How are you going to miss like 10 layups a game? Come on now.
It's just going to happen.
I mean, we'll see what happens. I hope he does bounce back, like Gio said, but we'll see. And I'm going to wait because I'm not trying to get a cliffhanger. So we'll see y'all soon.
are you sure you're not going to get a cliffhanger?
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Sid? You going to get one? Because I know I'm not going to get one. Y'all not talking? Come on.
So obviously, Gio had a few episodes off of Cliffhanger, came back to him, he's back. Cliffhanger's Gio's back. Anything you got to say, Gio?
I'm glad to be back. Felt weird not having a cliffhanger. So let's get back to business.
All right. Moving on to the NFL, as that is all the NBA talk we have for today. Lamar Jackson did state that the deadline for his contract extension that he wants to sign is his deadline is Friday. It's not looking like it's going to happen, I would say, because the Ravens have offered him $230 million, and he keeps turning it down because he wants it all guaranteed, which the Ravens have continually said that they're not going to do. So what do you guys have to say about this situation?
Resign him.
You think that they should give him all guaranteed money if that's what he wants?
I mean, I know they don't want to. Like, I wouldn't want to either. But he is still a young, very good quarterback. And their
Yeah.
offense is already taking hits.
That's true.
So at this point, I think they just have to kind of deal with it and just re-sign him.
I agree too, because like if they continue to wait, the quarterback market's going to continue to only go up and up and up, and eventually they're going to have to pay him close to like 400 million if they keep waiting.
Yep.
Because that's why the Cowboys got theirs done with Dak early, because they saw how the quarterback market were going. That's why these teams are starting, because like you can't wait anymore.
And like we like, even with that last contract, if they just gave Lamar his money before that, because now he's probably talking about wanting to be on the same kind of contract as
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray, which is just bad for
Right.
Baltimore.
I think it's a bad situation all around, because giving guaranteed money is a very big cap hit, but at the same time, you can't let a talent like Lamar Jackson walk at this young.
Especially when they don't really have a second option. Like,
No.
what they gonna do? Trade for Sam Darnold? Like,
Right. I mean, you could get a great quarterback back, but like, I don't think anyone would like trade a great quarterback for a great quarterback. Like,
and even then, like, it's just more problems if you trade for Lamar Jackson, because you gotta like change your whole offense
right.
to go with his running scheme.
Yeah. So personally, I agree. I think they should just re-sign him no matter what he wants. I've said this the entire offseason. I'm surprised he's still unsigned. Obviously, him not having an agent has something to do with that, but still, they need to re-sign him.
And that's crazy, bro. An agent would be like, "Yeah, Lamar, just get your bread."
Yeah, exactly. But what do you got to say, Gio?
Lamar's in a very large predicament right now, especially I think it's all timing, right?
Mhm.
Especially with Russell Wilson and all these other quarterbacks getting their large contracts, getting guaranteed money, right? He wants the same. He thinks or I don't want to say he thinks. I know that he believes he is in the same category as those other elite quarterbacks, which he is, because he's proven it over time, especially in the regular season, that he deserves that money, right? And even if he has an agent, I believe that it would have been better if he had an agent, right? For negotiations and all that. I believe he would have still turned down that money because he believes he deserves all that guaranteed payday, right? And it's just a bad time for Lamar right now, just because he doesn't have that contract. But we'll see what he produces this season, and obviously this can help him, right? Because this can guarantee him more money in the future.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Like, if he doesn't get the contract and then he goes out and balls out, he's like, all right, I balled out. You got to give me more money now.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
It can only help his case.
And that's another thing for the Ravens. Like, bro, you got to think about that. If he goes out and puts up MVP numbers, he's just going to raise the bar.
So would you rather pay him now, right? And risk him either playing bad throughout the season, or would you wait to see if he plays bad and then pay him then? But if he does play out and plays amazing and balls out, like you said, then it's just a larger amount of money going to one player instead of going to the rest of the team. So,
Yeah, I think they should sign him now, because I don't think he's going to play bad. I think he's going to have a good year. He's always like one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and I expect him to continue to do that. So I think they need to pay him. I don't think they should. I think they need to.
I agree. They need to pay him right now because even right now he's their like you get rid of him at quarterback and then there's absolutely zero chance for playoffs
Mhm.
because who's their backup quarterback that just got like put on something where he
I
can't
think it's
play?
like Tyler Huntley.
Yes, but right now you got Trace McSorley packing them up or whatever the kid's name
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's not like he's gonna lead you guys to the playoffs or anything.
No, not at all. What do you think, Gio?
What I think is just get Lamar his money, man. He deserves it. We all know he deserves it. And like we said, that bag is only going to get bigger, right? So it would be smart for that organization to pay him now. So just Lamar needs his money.
I agree.
I would say though, I think holding out a little bit longer is kind of good too though. Because once you get to that point where Lamar can't demand fully guaranteed,
Mhm.
then they can partially do it where like most of it's guaranteed and then like the rest of it. But even then that long term that's gonna cost them more money,
Right.
I think.
Right, exactly. So I just think it's better if they just get it done now before Friday.
Thanks.
But speaking of the Ravens, their opponent week 1 is going to be the Jets. It was announced that Joe Flacco is going to start against his former team and start uh, until week 4, which is when Zach Wilson is can return. We don't know when he will return, but week 4 is the earliest he can possibly return. So, what do you guys expect from the Jets with Joe Flacco at quarterback? You still expect them to be as bad as they were last year?
Worse, I would say. I don't think they're gonna I think Zach Wilson's promising. Like he's clearly better than Flacco in my eyes. But they're not gonna be as bad, I would say. Only because the additions they made during the draft. I don't really
Mhm.
like those guys. Um, so I think he'll do decent, but he will not. He will come nowhere near beating them.
I agree. I still think the Ravens have it in the bag, but you got him winning any games in the games he starts?
I'd have to pull up their schedule.
All right, Gio, what do you think about Joe Flacco? Well, say it does that.
I believe Joe Flacco. He's a Super Bowl champion, right?
Mhm.
Hasn't played well in the last couple of years. Been rooting for him. I believe he played for Denver for some time, if I'm not mistaken.
He's
Didn't
been a
play well,
backup for multiple years.
right? And then he hasn't been playing well since. Joe Flacco needs a resurrection in his career. Where else to do it than the Jets, where they have no hope? Might as well just play your heart out, especially against your old team. And if you can gain momentum, especially if they do end up upsetting, right, and winning that game, it'll just leave them, that team in shock, really. And I think that it'll help them win games after that as well. Because I believe, Nick, they play the Panthers, right? Week 3 or 4, something like that. Is that
Not quite.
No.
all right? Do you mind reading off that schedule?
Yeah. So week 1 they're playing the Ravens. Week 2 they play the Browns, which is where I see them most likely winning a game.
Yep.
But even then, I think that Browns defense is going to be too much.
Right.
Where I don't see them winning that game even. Then they play the Bengals, and then after the Bengals, they play your Steelers. Those are their first 4 games.
I can see them going 2-2, best case scenario, just because Joe Flacco has some magic left in him, right? He can play against the Ravens and win that game, I think, just because it's his old team, play extremely well, show some magic still left in him. Then they can play the Browns, right? Like you said, they have a chance against the Browns. We'll see what kind of defense the Browns bring, right? But they have a chance. That's where they can win that game. The Bengals, I don't think they have a chance, especially AFC North, champions. The Bengals are not going to lose that game. Steelers, that's a tough one. We usually play down to our opponent. You know what? I say the Steelers win that game too. So I think they go 2-2.
I agree. I got the Steelers going 4-0 to start the season.
But personally, I think Joe Flacco is done with his career. I think he should retire, honestly. I don't think he has anything left in the tank. So I see him going 0-3. I see the Jets being as bad as they were last year at the beginning of the year until Zach Wilson comes back and we see what if he has improved or not. And that will depend on how successful they are for the rest of the year. But I just don't see they're not going to beat the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to run all over them. And then the Browns, yeah, they could beat them, but I just the defensive aspect, like Saya said, I don't think that Joe Flacco will be able to do anything against that defense, especially with an awful O line. He's going to have no time to throw. And then the Bengals, like they're the AFC North champions. Like Gio said, they're not going to lose that game. They're not going to lose that game. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to at least. So I don't expect much from Joe Flacco. I mean, it would be cool for sure to see him, go back to Baltimore and play like crazy, but I just don't think he has anything left in the tank personally.
I would have to agree with you on that aspect of it. But really, we've seen multiple players late in their career go back and play against their former teams and play extremely well where we wouldn't have predicted it, right? I think this is one of the cases where Joe Flacco does show out. He might have 300-400 yards, right? Maybe I'd say 70-80% completion rate, right? One of these crazy games, right? And wins that game.
That's a bold take. That's all I'll say.
That is very bold, but it can happen, and I've seen crazier things happen too. So
That's fair.
Sorry,
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say that's fair.
I can see the completion percentage, just because I think he's going to do checkdowns all day.
Right.
But I don't see him going over 250 yards. I think he'll be at like 204 yards by the end of the game.
Right. Because like even if he still has stuff left in the tank, that O line is not going to protect for him for more than 3 seconds. He has 3 seconds to find a receiver, and that's it.
But I don't see him coming up with any magic just because that roster is so lackluster.
Right. And like if you look at the receivers, who is he even throwing to?
Elijah Moore. Come on now.
Okay, yeah, outside of him though. Like Denzel Mims is always hurt. If he's healthy, he's decent. But it depends on if he's healthy.
Didn't they get a rookie wide receiver too? Or am I completely tweaking?
Oh yeah, they did get Garrett Wilson, but like rookie's first game, we'll see what happens. Yes, Ohio State. That's right, Gio.
Coming out of Ohio State, Garrett Wilson, I believe he's going to have 200 yards, right?
Not in week 1, he won't.
You don't think so?
No, he will have at most, I will say he'll have at most 100, but my prediction's 85.
That's reasonable.
67.
But that kid's got hands. With Joe Flacco having a little bit of magic left in him, you never know what can happen. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we already know that Gio's known for Hail Marys, so September 7th, 10:30 p.m., another Hail Mary.
Yep.
But anything else you guys got to add before we move on?
Just cheering against the Jets.
Yeah, as a Dolphins fan, makes sense. Gio?
Yeah, I'll be rooting for the Jets, at least until they play the Steelers, just because, AFC North, at least get a couple losses in there, get the Steelers a couple wins in there, give us a little cushion. It would be great to see.
Yeah, so moving on, we are going to do, since football is starting tomorrow night, we are going to predict our division winners and then also predict a very early Super Bowl predictions. So I will let one of you go first with whatever division you want to do first.
Gio, let's start with the Steelers division.
All right, AFC North, right? You got the Steelers, you got the Bengals, you got the Browns, and did I mention the Ravens?
You did not know.
All right, so you got those 4 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm going to pick my Steelers to come out of that. I got the Bengals being a wild card possibly. I don't see the Ravens going anywhere just because I think there's too much drama in that locker room right now, especially with Lamar's contract. Then you got the Browns. They're in all sorts of trouble right now. It doesn't matter, how well your team is created. Nick Chubb, he can run out of the stadium, right? But that team's going nowhere. That's why I got my Steelers. Just like everyone says, Pickett is going to come in, right? Just like Nick says, 4-0, right? Then Mitch loses a couple games.
Yep.
Then Pickett comes in, and that's what all the execs are calling offensive rookie of the year. And I'm, happy for it, and we'll see what happens. So Steelers winning that division.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Yeah.
I personally have the I have the Bengals winning that division. I don't see any wild card coming out of here. I think the Ravens kind of fall short out of the wild card. And I think the Steelers finish off like 7-11. Nope, 7-10.
Mm-hmm.
My heart.
Hey, Mitch is gonna make you guys 4-0 though to start.
Hey, it's all right. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Obviously the Browns last and say us as well, just because no Deshaun. And then I agree with Saya. I'm sorry, Gio, but I don't see the Pittsburgh Steelers getting even close to winning the division. Mr. Trubisky's going to start out hot. Yes, I can see that. But I got to see Kenny Pickett play before I say he's going to win a division. And then I still got Bengals winning that division again. They got even more talent coming into this year, so I don't see them giving up that crown. And I got the Ravens second. I could see them as a possible wild card, but everything's going to have to fall into play for them, like Saya said. We'll see what happens because there's so many wild cards in the AFC that can happen. And then Steelers third, and then Browns last because Deshaun suspended for 11 games.
Y'all know defense is part of football too, right?
Yes, it doesn't matter if your offense can't score points. I'm sorry.
I mean, the Steelers defense is nice, but they're not going to look so nice when they're on the field the entire game.
Right, exactly.
That's true. We saw that after we won 10-0, the defense looked a little gassed throughout the game, so understandable in that aspect of it. But we have a younger quarterback now, and that's why I see we can win more games because of that.
10:34 p.m. Another Hail Mary by Gio, 4 minutes apart.
Hey, let's make a record, man. Let's make a record.
All right, Saya, let's go to the Miami Dolphins division. What do you got?
Favorite. So winning the division, I know it's kind of boring. Like, yeah, everyone's talking about them winning the division, being all good and stuff. The Miami Dolphins are winning the division. I don't know who you thought Miami wins the division. I have them personally going 12-5. I have the Bills being second in the division. I think they sneak into the wild card. I think they're going to finish at 10-7. And then the Patriots going to be like 8-8 or 8-9 or something. I don't see the Jets winning very many games. Maybe like 3 or 4, maybe 5.
I agree. Personally, I have the Bills winning the division though, just because their talent and what they did last year. I can see them going back-to-back division winners.
No Trey White the first 4 games.
Yeah, but that's 4 games though.
Yeah, but who else do they got in that secondary? Besides their safeties.
But Josh Allen got an arm, bro.
Josh Allen, who?
I forgot you hate that kid.
Who owns Buffalo's defense? That was in Kansas City last year. Cheetah.
We'll see what happens.
So
But Nick's Miami bias coming out. But yeah, I got the Bills winning the division, not by much though. I'd say by a game and a half maybe, and then Dolphins second, then New England third, and then obviously the Jets last, just because that's easily the worst team in the division.
I would not be surprised. Actually, I'll wait till that part to say that.
All right, Gio, go ahead.
So right now I'm stumped, right? In the back of my head, I got Coach Belichick, whispering to me, saying, "Don't forget about us." I really believe that they can work out their troubles, right? With their coordinators, with their offense. We know what their defense is going to bring, but their offense is a little suspect right now. Yeah, but Mac Jones did lose some weight, right? We saw he got into better shape, like Tom Brady. We know he can throw the football. We know what he can do offensively. That team will not shock me. I think they could win the division. Right now, I got to give it to the Bills, right? Got to give it to Stephon Diggs, right, over there in Buffalo. Bills Mafia. Josh Allen, that kid's got a lot of heart, got a lot of game to him, too. I guarantee he might be MVP this season.
Somebody else in the division winner.
Yeah, that can happen. But the Bills, right? They number one right now, I think. But I'd watch out for the Patriots, right? Number two, I believe will be a solid number two. Will be a wild card, the Miami Dolphins. Tua could be MVP. We already know what the cheetah brings, right? Just like Nick said, who goes after the Bills defense? Who's this, speed monster, right? His name is Tyreek Hill. That kid just got the bag, right? He got traded on a new team, is hyping up his quarterback a lot. Got a good coach, got a good organization, good system going on right there, right? After all their drama, they're going to be a solid number two wild card, and that's where I see that division.
All right.
But another person you're forgetting is the Penguin, Jalen Waddle.
Yep.
He's going to be a sneaky threat.
Yep.
Miami's secondary is very
Yep.
nice, but an up-and-coming star in Javon Holland. And then they got the best cornerback room in the league, I would say. And that linebacker core is not terrible with Jerome Baker leading it. And the Christian Wilkins leading the D-line. One of the best defenses in the league. Add Tyreek Hill to that offense. Bring in a head coach that's very offensive-oriented. Miami owns the division now.
So you tell me they're still at number two, though, right?
No, sir. I think
We'll see.
Buffalo had their time.
The reason I have Buffalo first is because I need to see Tua perform first before I say, okay, they'll win the division.
Okay. Don't join that train. Don't join that train.
I'm never
But-
joining the Tua train. Don't trust me.
I think we can all say the Miami Dolphins will have a playoff, right, berth
yeah.
this season.
hmm
And that will be tremendous, especially for them.
Yeah.
Where, as a Miami Dolphins fan, I'm sure Nick can attest to this. They haven't had a lot of success recently.
Yep.
So it'll be good for them to be in the playoffs.
I agree. Moving on to the AFC South. This isn't a great division. So I think I'm going to give the edge to the Colts for winning the division as they added Matt Ryan. So I think that their talent is better than the Titans. So I got the Colts winning and the Titans number two. Jacksonville will go number three, and then the worst team in the division will be the Texans.
Fair. I think so. I'm really torn between the 1 and 2 of the Colts and the Titans.
Yeah, that's what I was too.
But I'm gonna give it to the Colts as well, only because Derrick Henry, he really carried that offense, and he's coming off an injury.
Mhm.
He's getting up there in age, carrying the ball almost 30 times a game. So his body's gonna be feeling it a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna be this year where he starts to decline his production, but right now I'd say Colts, Titans, Jaguars, Texans.
I agree. Gio?
This is crazy because I'm going to agree with you guys. I believe the Colts are going to be the number one right team in that conference, especially with having Matt Ryan on that team. Who's that running back again?
Jonathan Taylor.
That's right. That's
And
right.
Naheem Hines behind him.
That kid's made a lot of noise in the last couple seasons, right?
Hmm.
I believe that team will be number one. Number two, that's hard for me between the Titans and the Jags, right? Jags, a lot of young kids on that team. New coach, right? New system. It's going to be fun to watch that team. The Titans lost a lot of offensive weapons, I think, and Julio Jones, right? A couple other key weapons. So that'll be interesting to watch them. But we all know the Colts are coming out of that conference and nobody else is going into the playoffs. So
Yep. And moving on to the most competitive division in the AFC, the AFC West. This is going to be very hard to predict. I'm going to make a bold take and say that the Chargers are going to win the division. I really like that team. And the second and third spots, they're really stumping me, but I'm going to say KC is going to be last because they're the least talented team. And I need to see what Patrick Mahomes does without Tyreek in order to see how good they're going to be. And then Denver or Raiders. I think Denver will have the edge over the Raiders because I like Russell Wilson more than I like Derek Carr, and I like the Broncos' weapons more than I like the Raiders' weapons. So I got Chargers, Denver, Raiders, and Kansas City.
Gio, would you like to go next, or would you like me to?
go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess we're just bold takes over here. So I was gonna go Chargers winning the division as well. With the second team in that division though, I personally see the Broncos taking it. I also like their defense more so than the Raiders.
Yeah, that's why I had them as second too. Defense.
Yeah. We're not gonna have the same list though. I see the Chiefs being the third team in that division. But I think if you have Patrick Mahomes with Travis Kelce and some speedy wide receivers still, I think there's always a chance for them to be like extremely competitive. But their defense is going to hold them back to where they're not going to be running the division. And then I have the Raiders last because I just don't see them as being as. I'll rely more on Patrick Mahomes and his weapons and that lackluster defense based off of what I saw last year with a bad defense as well. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we have 3 playoffs teams in this division though.
Yeah, bro, this is definitely like it sucks that one team is going to have to miss out because they're all so talented.
Yep.
Go ahead, Gio.
Very tough division. Y'all are sleeping on the Chiefs, I personally think. But the Raiders, I have the Raiders coming out of this division at number 1. Hopefully, Devonta Adams has a great season after getting traded, right? I really hope that organization does well this year, right? Darren Waller, another great weapon. Then the Chiefs. They did lose their best wide receiver, the best wide receiver in the game, but they added depth. They have pretty much the same team, right? I feel like they have more experienced offensive line, right? They're going to be a solid team. Plus, they're Super Bowl champions, right? And Patrick Mahomes, you can't go wrong with Patrick Mahomes. They're going to be a wild card coming in at number 2. Broncos coming in at number 3. I think they might also get a wild card spot just because of Russell Wilson, new team, new weapons, new organization. I think they're going to have a lot of effort, a lot of morale, right? And I think they're just going to go ahead and have a great season. Chargers, they're going to have a good season too, but they're still too young. I don't think that defense is what people are making it out to be. But that's my take on the AFC West. Got the Raiders, got the Chiefs, then you got the Broncos. Chargers sitting at number 4. I know that might be a sin for you guys, but I got the Chargers at 4.
I'm just going to say you sleeping on that defense. That's going to be one of, if not the best defenses in the league, in my opinion.
What I'll say is I can't hate on like your order of teams just because it's so competitive. But I am gonna hate on that defense comment as well. They're definitely one of the better defenses. Like they are young, but they're already extremely impactful and extremely good. So
I just don't see them being what people are thinking they're going to be. I can agree that they're going to be a great defense in the league, but like you guys said, for that defense, they're going to have to, I would say, to carry that team, right? Like they did in previous seasons.
No, because Justin Herbert can put up 35 points a game.
they still got Keenan Allen over there to run the
I
wide receiver with him.
really think their defense will not be top 5.
Oh,
I think that's a bugging comment right there. Another Hail Mary.
I
We
think
can
they're
say
top
that.
3.
1047. Go ahead.
Let's go
I
ahead,
was
Sam.
gonna say I think they're top 3 even if there are injuries that hurt their defense.
Personally, I think they're top 2 and not 2.
I think they're gonna be the best one, but in case of injuries, top 3.
That's fair.
Okay.
But moving on to the worst division in football, and I can say that as a Cowboys fan, the NFC East, or as many people call it, the NFC least. Obviously, I'm biased, but I got the Cowboys winning the division. We're going to go 10-7, and then the Eagles will be second. The Giants are going to be last because it's the Giants, and then the Commanders will be third. That's my opinion.
Okay. I also have the Cowboys winning the division. I disagree with the Eagles being second though. Personally, I have the Commanders. I like the Carson Wentz edition, even though he's not great. I still think he's an upgrade at quarterback where he can propel them to the 2. And that leaves the Eagles third, unless Saquon has this monstrous season. I just don't see it. So where the Giants are the 4th in the division.
Even if Saquon has a monster season, the O-line's still going to suck. So,
And it's a terrible defense.
yeah, they literally let go of their best player in Jabril Peppers on the defense. So, but go ahead, Gio. I know you're probably going to disagree.
Actually, I'm not going to disagree. I got the Cowboys going at number 1.
Okay.
But what can go wrong will go wrong. So just pointing that out there.
Yeah, I know.
The
As
back
a
of my
Cowboys fan,
head,
I'm well aware.
the Giants
Uh-huh.
are the sleeper team no one's looking at.
Because they suck. They have no talent.
They can do something. I've been hyping them up.
No.
Saquon's going to have a monster year. I really think this team can possibly do something in the NFC East. Then you
Another
got
Hail Mary at 10:49.
that's a sleeper though. Then you got the Commanders. I think is a lock at number 2. Then the Eagles. I'm really not sure on how the Eagles will perform this year. With a bunch of moves they've made, got to see how they play out first, and then I can make an assessment after that. But really, I think it's very tough. I think the Eagles will land at the number 3 spot or the number 4 spots.
That's fair.
Wait, so where are the Giants?
Giants are either 1 or 4. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
They're definitely not 1, so they're going to be 4.
we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, we won't have to see. We already know. But moving on to the NFC North, where obviously the clear favorite is Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. That's who I have winning the division. Coming in at second, I will say the Vikings will be second in the division. And then third, I will put the Chicago Bears. And then I still have the Detroit Lions last. But I do think that the Detroit Lions will improve from last year. They won't go with 1 win. They will have, I'll say, in the range of 4 to 6 wins this year.
Yeah, so I'm gonna disagree with that. I think Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the pieces nor the drive to lead his team to the 1 seed in their division. I personally think it's going to be the Vikings. I think Justin Jefferson's going to pop off. But I still do have the Packers second in the division. But I also have the Lions third.
Okay.
I think they could be really good. I know they're still relying on Jared Goff a lot in that offense. But I do like the moves they're making. I really do like Dan Campbell a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they could potentially move up to the 3rd spot. And that's mainly just because I don't trust the Bears. So I think they're just going to slide down.
That's fair. The reason I just put Packers number one though, just because I think Aaron Rodgers can make anyone good. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just comes out and wins the division still.
Well, that depends on if he wants to win it.
Yeah, but like he's a regular season guy though. That's the way I look at it.
True. All right.
But go ahead, Gio.
I'm gonna have to go. It's very tough. Aaron Rodgers, right? What has he got? Lazard and a couple other pieces.
Yeah, they drafted a receiver, Christian Watson.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. I think those pieces are way better. So got the Vikings at number 1, the Packers at number 2, Lions at number 3, and I just hope Justin Fields doesn't get hurt this season. So I got the Bears at number 4.
It's fair. Moving on to the NFC South, where obviously the clear favorite is Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I got them winning the division. And then I'm going to be bold and say that the New Orleans Saints will be second in the division. And then Carolina will be third. And then Atlanta will be fourth.
Yeah. So my hatred for Tom Brady really, really wants me to put someone else as the number 1. But there's just no options here. So it's going to be Tampa Bay winning the division. Oh, Gio's got another hot take coming in over there. Then I got the Saints probably because I think James Winston's going to be a decent enough quarterback to lead them to the 2. And I have the Panthers coming in third. I think Baker's going to be on somewhat of a revenge tour where he leads them to the 3rd spot. And the Falcons, I don't trust at all.
No.
Kyle Pitts is their only piece.
Exactly. Gio, you better hurry up. You're going to get another cliffhanger.
All right. So I disagree with you guys. I believe the Saints will be number 1. Jameis Winston is going to have possibly an MVP season. Chris Olave, right? Great. Michael Thomas, isn't he playing number 1?
Mm-hmm.
Week 1, right? He's
Yeah.
probable. Okay.
So Gio got 2 cliffhangers in one video. He's definitely back now. But
Record breaking.
keep it going, Gio. What were you saying about the Saints? Chris Olave?
Chris Olave, right? You got Marquise Callaway, right? You got a bunch of these young kids. I
Alvin
already
Kamara
said
still
Michael
in there.
Thomas. Who else?
Alvin Kamara, the running back.
Right.
Marshawn
He might be
Lattimore.
suspended.
Mark
Marshawn.
Ingram as well.
Mark Ingram? Yeah, he is back.
Yep. Alvin Kamara. So
Marshawn Lattimore, Cameron Jordan.
a lot of pieces, right?
Yeah.
Tom Brady. We don't know what's going on the side, right? Off the field. What's going on with him?
He's 45 years old. He can do that apparently.
No, actually, his wife left him. That's all I know.
Oh, damn! I didn't hear that.
His
That's
wife and
awesome.
kids literally took the kids. His wife took the kids and moved to another one of their homes because she's mad that he unretired.
As much as I hate Tom Brady, it's sad to hear that.
Yeah, but like he'll get it figured out. It's Tom.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was the best case scenario. He was filming for that music show. I honestly thought that was a scenario. I didn't hear anything about that. I heard speculation about his wife, but I didn't hear any, conclusion about that.
They're not divorced, but like she left.
Right. So I got the Saints at number 1. I got Tom Brady because he's Tom Brady at number 2. I really think they're going to have a great season as well. And then there on out, you can pick your poison for 3 and 4, but really 1 and 2, you got the Saints, then you got the Bucks. So
Reason I put the Bucks over the Saints though is that I like Tom Brady's weapons more than I like Winston's personally. Tom Brady got a lot of talent on that roster, and that defense is still elite.
right.
Elite defense, one of the best receiving cores.
Mhm.
Leonard Fournette, running back.
How do you see Julio Jones affecting that game?
I think he's going to be in the role that Antonio Brown was in last year. So I think he's going to thrive.
Okay.
I don't see him doing too much though, personally. I don't think he'll be in AB's role where AB was like, because AB could at least play in the slot. I don't want to see Julio in the slot by any means.
But I think they're going to play him in the slot because like Godwin and Evans are on the outside.
Yeah, but I'd rather have big boy Julio Jones be on the outside than I'd rather sneak in. Even Mike Evans, I'd say, is faster than Julio, or like more shifty on his routes.
I mean, Prime Julio was pretty fast though.
Yeah, but this is old Julio now.
That's true.
So I'd rather see him on the outside catching lob up balls, but we'll see what happens.
That's fair. What do you think, Gio?
I would have to agree with you that I think he's going to be in that Antonio Brown type spot where he kind of thrives. He'll get a couple passes here and there. I think he might get a couple 90, 100-yard games, right? Maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns possibly per game. And then really I think the main weapon, it's got to be Mike Evans, I think. So that's
I agree.
mine.
Moving on to the last division is the NFC West. It was a very competitive division last year, but this year, not so much given the trades that went down in it. Obviously, Seattle is going to be last, in my opinion, just because of their quarterback play is the worst in that division. I still have the Rams winning the division. I don't think they're going to give that up. I will have Arizona number 2, and then I will put San Fran third because I got to see what Trey Lance brings to that team before I can put them higher than that.
This is kind of boring because I had the exact same list. But I'll say this: I'm a huge Arizona guy. I think if D-Hop wasn't suspended for the first couple of games, I think they could be the number 1 team. That's what I would say. But the Rams having 6 games, like all good, and then the Cardinals not having D-Hop, I think that's enough to push the Rams up over the top.
Right. I will say I think Marquise Brown is going to have a big year with Kyler Murray.
Especially with D-Hop out the first couple of games, so I think he's going to tear it up. But once
And
D-Hop comes back,
yeah. I mean, they already have chemistry though,
true.
So we'll see.
He's going to fill that like Christian Kirk role too, right?
I would say he'll be the number 2 next to D Hop once D Hop comes back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But
What
go
you
ahead,
think,
Gio.
So I got the Rams as well. Stafford's, like in previous podcasts, I've said that he's an MVP caliber, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Matt Stafford's not going to disappoint again. Rams is at number 1 in this league or in this conference. Cardinals at number 2, right? Especially if this defense can stay healthy. Once D-Hop comes back, right? I really think this team could be the best in the division. But obviously, like we said previously, I think the Rams will have a little bit of a cushion once D-Hop gets back, right? So I think that's why they'll be at number 1. But Cardinals will be a close second. 49ers at third. We got to see what Trey Lance does. See if Jimmy G does come back, if Trey's not playing well, right? If they reconciled with him. And then obviously the Seahawks, unfortunately for Pete Carroll, I don't think they're going to be anything this year. So they're at number 4.
All right. On to the very early Super Bowl predictions. For me, there's a clear favorite in the NFC. As much as I hate to say it because I'm sick of seeing this man win, the clear favorite for me is Tampa Bay, personally. I just don't see anyone else coming on the NFC. I mean, you could say the Rams, but outside of those two, I think those are the 2 favorites in my opinion. And I think that Tom Brady is coming back with a vengeance, and he wants that ring to go out into the sunset, right? So I think he's going to go get that ring or try to get that ring. And then the AFC is very hard to predict. There's so many teams that could make the Super Bowl out. I mean, some are bold, but you could say Denver, you could say the Chargers, you could say the Raiders if they make the playoffs. You could say the Dolphins, you could say Buffalo. But personally, I'm gonna say I don't think Nick's definitely not gonna like this, but I'm gonna say I got Buffalo coming out of the AFC for the Super Bowl. So my prediction is Tampa Bay Buffalo, and I will say that Tom Brady wins and rides off into the sunset correctly.
That would be the worst Super Bowl. I would not watch that game. Especially because I don't like the Bills by any means. And I hate Tom Brady. And the last thing I want to do is watch Tom Brady tear up on the Bills one last time before he goes out. But yeah, Gio, you want to make your Super Bowl prediction or me first?
You can go if you want, or I can go, whatever you're feeling.
You go first, because I'm gonna be a little hot over here.
All right.
Well, we already know who's going to be a Super Bowl in the AFC, but yeah.
For me, right, in the NFC, it's hard between the Rams and the Bucks. I'm gonna just say I'm really leaning towards the Rams, but I'm just gonna say the Bucks because Tom Brady to go into that, right off into that sunset. I think he's gonna have an edge to him this season, or in previous seasons he didn't really have that big of an edge. So that's scary for the NFL. Then for the AFC, that's very tough as well. That's very tough for me. I got the Bengals in mind, possibly, or I've got the Raiders.
So one of those two teams will be facing the Bucks.
I would say that, or possibly revenge, right? You can see Kansas City coming out. It's very tough. I would see those guys. I don't want to say the Bills, but they're in the discussion as well. I'm going to go Bucks, Kansas City, unfortunately. And
Kansas City?
I think Kansas City's a reach, but
that's hot.
That's a hot take for sure.
I know. Kansas City, because depending on the seeding, I think if Kansas City gets the right matchup, they have an easy way to the Super Bowl, per se.
Well, personally, I don't even see him making the playoffs.
Right. I thought that was crazy. You put them at the number 4, but yeah, I got Kansas City, and then I really want to see Kansas City get revenge on the Bucks for what happened last time. But then again, Tom Brady reigns supreme, and he runs off into the sunset. He wins his last, and I believe 8th Super Bowl, right? So
yeah,
he'll win his 8th Super Bowl. Bucks win.
I mean, I have Kansas City at 4 just because that division is so talented, but that's just me.
It is.
Go ahead, Sale. Let's see his hot take.
Y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
This is gonna be hot.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with the NFC like y'all did. I would say the favorites are the Rams and the Buccaneers, but I don't see either of those teams making the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Just like no one really saw the Bengals going into the AFC Championship last year. I think this team's going to catch a lot of luck, and they're going to work very hard because they're going to come in as a wild card. I have the Cardinals personally making it to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's their time. I like D-Hop. I like the Brown move. I think James Conner is a quality running back to help them go through. And that defense is underrated, I would say. So I can see them with enough luck. They're going to be my pick to make the Super Bowl. On the AFC side, whole lot of contenders. You got Miami, not Buffalo, because they're going to lose to Miami in the playoffs. I have the Chargers up there. I have the Raiders up there. Not the Raiders, sorry. The Broncos up there. The Bengals could come back. The team I'm going to say, they're a very, very young team. But I like their whole team. They've got one of the best defenses in the league. And they're still a young defense, so they're going to make it to Super Bowls. They've got very nice wide receiver pieces. An even better quarterback. I have the Chargers making it to the Super Bowl. Y'all thought I was going to say Dolphins, huh?
Yeah, I did, but once I heard you say the best, started to describe it, I was like, oh, that's Chargers. But let me ask you, how far you got the Dolphins going?
I think they win one game in the playoffs and lose in the second round.
To who?
The Chargers.
Okay.
Because I see the Chargers having that first round bye. And then I see Miami winning their first round in the wild card, or like the first round.
hmm
And seeding wise, I don't see Miami being up the division like that. So they're not going to be a high playoff spot to where they run into the Chargers beat them. Then the Chargers beat like the Bengals or something. And then the Chargers go on to the Super Bowl.
That is a hot take. I will give you that. That's definitely a hot take.
No, neither team was like clear cut.
No.
So
But I mean, they both do have a chance to make Super Bowl for sure. I will give you that.
facts.
Gio, are you okay over there?
No, I was thinking about it. We all have an AFC West team going to the Super Bowl. Is that correct? In that statement,
I don't. I have the Bills.
you have the Bills, right? Yeah. That's,
Might even lose to Miami in the playoffs.
I think they get over the hump personally, but we'll see.
Okay, so we got the Bills. We got AFC West teams. I really think you guys are sleeping on the Raiders, personally.
I have them third in the division. That's why I don't go to Super Bowl.
If they are not third and they are the top two in their division, do you believe they could go to the Super Bowl?
I don't think they have enough talent to do so yet. No.
Even with Waller and Devontae Adams and Derek Carr?
No. Derek Carr's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
They even have Josh Jacobs and Hunter Renfrow too, but
That's
that's
right.
still not enough.
Derek Carr is not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I'm sorry.
No, I can't, because say Derek Carr goes up against Buffalo.
Right.
Quarterback wise, that's not a matchup you want to
No.
see.
Right.
And I think the Raiders defense is way more lackluster to Buffalo, to where I don't think they have a chance there. Same goes for the Chargers. I think Derek Carr and Justin Herbert will be closer in the quarterback comparison. But again, it'll come down to defense, where I would take the Chargers.
Right.
And then the Bengals, even, I think I would take them just because I like their offense more. I think they have more firepower.
You know, I think
agree.
you changed my mind. First in the show, right? The Chargers will be the second in their division.
You still got the Raiders first, right?
No. I fully retract my statements about the Raiders.
Okay.
I was fully just, looking at their star power offense. I thought Josh Jacobs, like you guys said, Devontae Adams was really the only name I was thinking of. Derek Carr, I thought he was a good quarterback, possibly an MVP season quarterback a couple of years ago. But Justin Herbert, like you guys said, he is a great quarterback. He did add 20 pounds, I believe, right, in the offseason, something like that. Added a lot of muscle to him, a lot of size, can still throw the football. That defense, Khalil Mack, right, added great player.
JC Jackson.
Right, great young defense. They'll be the second team in that. I still believe that Kansas City will beat them just because of their ability to play in those types of games, right? But yeah, I got Kansas City winning out there, but you guys changed my mind on the Chargers, so congratulations.
Mission accomplished. All right. All right. That concludes our podcast for today. But Gio, I know you want to talk about tennis, so go ahead.
Yeah, Francis Tiafoe, the last American left, I believe, in the men's and women's side, reaching the semifinals. He plays the winner of Sinner and Alcatraz, I believe, or something like that. Spanish player, right? Calling him the young Rafa Nadal. But Francis Tiafoe, I believe, could win the U.S. Open. And it's great to see an American play at this level again, right? And hopefully he's able to win this tournament. And then for the women's side, we do not have an American left anymore. Pagula was the last one, ranked at number 8, and she lost today to the number 1 seed. And I do not want to mess up that name. I believe it is Swiatek, something like that. Number 1 seed, great player, won I believe 36 matches in a row earlier on the tour. So, although the American did not show out today and win, she had a great tournament, great tour, and we're looking forward to Frances Tiafoe winning the U.S. Open.
Yeah, in the video game world, obviously NBA 2K23 is coming out this Friday. Looking very forward to that. I already pre-ordered it tonight. It looks very cool and the graphics look a lot better than 2K22 in the past 2Ks. So I hope that is the case, and I hope the controls and the glitching and stuff like that are improved as well. But yeah, that's about it in the video game world.
Yeah, for music, we were talking about this before we started this last part of the pod. I gotta shout out DJ Khaled for his album, God Did. But more importantly, I'm a big Juice WRLD guy. So I gotta shout out Juice WRLD Did as well. I really like that song. It's an upbeat Juice WRLD song. It shows his like versatility. I like it a lot. So yeah, that's music.
And thank you for watching, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
Yep. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, you can drop a like. If you got questions or comments, you can drop a comment. Most importantly, make sure you drop a geo though.
Hey, make sure you guys subscribe. It should be somewhere over there, maybe below. If you guys really liked this video, right, hit that subscribe button. You'll see the next one, coming up when Jake posts it. So see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.